Most of you real estate investors are dying to quit your jobs, but unfortunately you're going about it the wrong way. More rentals, more debt, and more BRRRR methods will only secure you a spot in the slow lane, which is a fine place to be if you're a patient, passive, long-term investor. But if you're trying to sprint up the hill like I was when I started, you're going to need to employ some strategies that prioritize income and growth. And I'm going to give you the strategies that allowed me to quit my job 1 year after I got my first rental property in this short session here today. So listen up, get your notepad. It's going to be quick, but it's going to be dense. And before we actually get started, I'm going to give you some other stuff. I'm going to give you some freebies. Let's give you 25 free copies of the legendary rental property calculator or anything else from the ACE Toolkit store. You can get to it through my link in bio or click the link over my head if you're on YouTube. And the coupon code is going to be FASTLANE because that's what these tools will help you get into along with the information you get in this session. It's all lowercase, one word, FASTLANE. Enter it at checkout. After 25 copies are redeemed, the code is not going to work anymore. And the code does not work on the course, obviously not. The Virtual Investor's Guide is it's a monster. It's what we use to train our acquisitions rep to actually get us off-market deals all the way from like lead generation to close. So it's a commercialized process that'll probably help you get in the fast lane if you really want to be a real estate business owner as well. So there's my plug for that, but the coupon code does not work on it. So let's get straight into it. Let's get you into the fast lane with some key strategies, the 4 key strategies that got me to, quit my job 1 year after my first rental, but also allowed me to grow a volume real estate investment business here. And I think these are core strategies to any real estate business. So regardless of the model that you want to pursue, you're going to want to make sure that these are in effect as you develop it. The first one, and this is the heart and soul of any real estate business, it's generating equity. And I don't mean natural appreciation over time. That's too slow. The revenues come from equity in properties that's generated in some sort of like forced or active manner. And you can really get equity in properties instantly or in a short period of time through 3 different methods. And a combination of the 3 is really ideal, right? The first method is acquisition. And I can illustrate an example to just make it easier for you to understand what I mean here. We pursue properties off market. We market heavily directly to sellers. We have boots on the ground in all these markets that bring us deals off market. And we could buy a property on any given day for $50K that's really worth $100 as it stands, or scale it up, right? We've bought a 12 unit for $475 that appraised for $880 a month later. Buying instant equity on the front end creates a lot of opportunity for income. You could sell that property and put that equity in your pocket immediately. So it's really rapid. So winning on the buy, that's the simplest way to describe acquisition. Improvements another way, construction, painting floors, roofs, foundations, whatever it might be. Now you have to buy the property cheap enough for construction to make sense. You have to make the improvements happen in a financially feasible manner at the right price, and you have to execute them well in a short period of time. But improvements can add value to your property. The third way to generate equity is through management, increasing the income, lowering the expenses. It makes your investment property worth more. And when you combine these 3 things, and you could do it at scale with multiple properties per year, month, week even, then generating equity is going to create a lot of revenue for your real estate business. So regardless what model you think you want to design, make sure generating equity is at the core of it. And I think you'll have something a little more viable on your hands. The second strategy, you guys aren't going to like this because it goes against what we're taught on all the podcasts and the TikToks and whatever it is. You actually have to sell properties sometimes. You can only cash out refi so many times for the lender hamstrings you. And you've got a bunch of equity tied up that you could have used to pay for shit that's going to be valuable to your business, that's going to help it grow. I'm not going to go into this big philosophical argument of selling versus keeping. I'll just say that yes, you get taxed when you sell, but you actually need taxable income to grow a business. When you no longer need the taxable income, sure, you could start 1031 exchanging properties into other ones so you can keep scaling up, but you're going to run into limitations if you don't have some cash in your pocket, and you free up that cash by selling deals that you've added value to or that you've bought at a discount. That could be wholesaling, that could be flipping after 1 year, that could be selling turnkey to a rental property investor. You choose, but sometimes you got to sell a property. The third strategy, this is a tough one for you guys, for a lot of the hands-on mom and pop investors. It's hiring, and it starts with hiring a property manager. It could evolve into hiring contractors and eventually maybe virtual assistants to handle your acquisitions, marketing, and even employees for your office. Everyone starts with an admin when you eventually get to the point that you have enough work that someone should be helping. But the point here is that we've already established the money in real estate investment businesses, the active income that allows you to quit your job, right? You need to make enough to actually pay for things. It comes from equity. So equity, generating equity, like we talked about, those three things, that's the highest and best use of your time. Tying yourself up, doing things that could be easily and inexpensively delegated, like property management, that prevents you from generating equity is a very poor judgment call and something that we're often, as frugal investors, compelled to do. We have this we can't waste money mentality, right? So we end up doing things like painting our own apartments on the weekend, mowing the lawns, placing the tenants ourselves. You need to hand those things off so you could focus on getting the next deal, improving the next deal, or stabilizing the next deal so you could generate that big chunk of equity. You're getting paid more per hour to do that, is what you need to understand. And to get the next deal, number 4, one of our favorite strategies is advertising. You've got to spend some money to make money. I know this is like a very hard thing for the investor mindset because you're buying something that's not tangible. It's not worth something as it stands, right? It's an expense. It's a pure expense. There isn't a property behind the advertising dollar that you spend, especially if it's like digital advertising, right? It just goes out into the interweb and it's gone after that. But the advertising brings you either more deals or more investors. And that's really what we spend on. We spend almost as much money advertising as we do on payroll. We've got a well-paid staff here and a decent sized staff, which is kind of crazy to say, but the ads bring in those big chunks of equity. We spend a good amount of money on marketing directly to sellers, and we spend a good amount of money marketing on Meta to bring more investors to the table, to bring more investors to our platform. And these are the lifeblood of our business. Without the ad dollars, I would not have had investors buying deals from me before I had a 350,000 person following on Instagram and then another 100 on YouTube and another 500 on TikTok, right? Those didn't always exist, but the business existed before that. And for the business to exist, we had to spend money to draw attention to our product and to bring the product to the table. So those are the 4 key strategies. And I think these apply to every real estate investment model out there that's going to allow you to replace your income and grow it even bigger. They are generating equity, and that's through acquisitions, improvement, and management. They're selling properties. They are hiring, delegating things out, and advertising, spending some money to bring business in the door. Now, look, you don't have to do these things if you're the passive investor. There's nothing wrong with being the passive, park your money and move on investor. But understand that if you do have aspirations of real estate investing being bigger than just a couple extra bucks a month or a retirement plan, you're gonna have to think differently than what you hear a lot of these people saying or recommending on the podcast, on the TikTok. So put it in place. Hope you got a freebie as well. Have a good weekend, y'all.